Well, I continue to get scruffier. I apologize. Not going to change for a while, but anyway, there might be a quarterback controversy. I don't think there's a controversy as far as the team is concerned, but it's something the fans like to talk about. And, well, there's already a few videos on the subject, but I thought I would go ahead and add mine anyway. So we're going to talk about Nicco, Marchiol, and Garrett, Greene. I don't think we're to the point of talking about Ryder Burton and Khalil Wilkins yet, but we may get there in due time. Before that, I will say, and you know I will say, this is WVU Football Going Deep. I am Forrest Poston, scruffy and all. And please share, subscribe, click the thumbs up, click the notification bell, and make comments. Tell your friends. And definitely need those subscriptions. We've actually slid backwards this week, which would be rather disappointing if I had enough energy to be disappointed. But we have, the cat news isn't good, so we're fighting it as best we can. You know, Mountaineer does not go down without a fight. Now, who should start? Now, of course, as a fan, we don't know. But hey, we got opinions. We can look at some of what's happened or what we think's happened, and can kind of take a look at claims people are making. Reality is, who's going to start against Baylor will depend on how they play this week in practice. If Garrett Greene is able to come back essentially at or above the level he was at before injured, he'll start. And there, I think, are reasons why he should. Now, I'll probably get to that. I am doing this mostly off the top of my head. I meant to make notes, but, well, there have been other things. Now, Nicco Marchiol. Well, some people are saying, hey, you know, he's undefeated as a starter, therefore he should start. That don't cut it as logic. I mean, he's won 3 games this year, but sort of. Is it 3? I forget. Anyway, he didn't look good a few weeks ago. Looked good against Arizona, and he was actually not good against Cincinnati. Some people keep insisting that he was. They point to his completion percentage, and that's a number, but you got to look behind numbers. I've said that before. Now, and first of all, let me say, I expect Marchiol to be the starter next year. I expect him to be very good. I expect him to have overcome most of the limitations he has right now, which are, a matter of age and experience. I mean, playing this year would benefit him next year, but it might sacrifice games this year. And hey, you play this week's game. You play to win this week, not next week's game, not next year's game. You gotta play to win this week. And of course, they need it. But this year, Marchiol is making certain mistakes, and he has enough tape now that teams are going to have better ideas about how to keep him confused. He knows that, and he knows he has to get better at some of these things, and he is getting better. But go back and look at Arizona, and Marchiol got lucky 2 or 3 or 4 times. One of his critical passes really should have been an interception. I mean, if I were keeping track, and I dare say the coaches did take note of this, I would have marked down interception that wasn't intercepted right through the hands of the defender. And the defender not only didn't intercept it, he didn't, deflect it. It was caught for a critical first down. But it was not a good decision. He got away with it. He shouldn't have gotten away with it. We got dang lucky. His fumble, now you can't, the defensive player had to work to force it. But it was partly effort and partly luck that, kept the defense from recovering that. And I think even, touchdown pass, the defender had a really good shot at it and probably should have at least deflected that one. So any one of those goes the other way, and we are not talking about a good game, and we're probably not talking about a win. So, on the other hand, Greene he's made mistakes, he's also had some bad luck. Last year, things went more his way. Guys missed interception opportunities. This year, those have gone, the way of the defense. But Marchiol's Arizona game was, it was nice and steady. He looked cool in the pocket. Now, according to the coaches, he did still miss some reads. And, of course, Greene has been missing some reads as well. But Marchiol maybe at a higher rate. And we don't necessarily see that. We don't get to go back and watch film that shows the whole field, where maybe we can see the receiver that Marchiol should have thrown to, or reasons why he should have handed it off or kept it, that sort of thing. We see the play that happens, not all of the things that might have or should have happened. So, that's one reason for watching or listening to the press conferences. Against Cincinnati, Marchiol did not see the field. People have been saying Marchiol stands in the pocket better and sees the field better than Greene. His feet were not settled. His mechanics were off from the bottom up, which caused a number of critical incompletions that, we're talking about incompletions on layups. Same thing we were saying about Greene last year. Marchiol made some pretty passes. The two of the deep balls were as good as any pass you're ever going to see, as was the pass to Robinson for the touchdown. But one of the reasons we did not run many plays, and defense getting pick six and fumble return, that affected things, but Marchiol missed a number of reads and a number of passes that would have kept drives going. So we end up with fewer plays. And Marchiol is an above-average runner. We saw in his touchdown run, design run, and he, found the seam as, the seam was kind of shifting, and he found it as it moved. But there were other times that he got out on the move and maybe waited too long to make a decision. And if he's out there with a defensive player in a foot race, he's not winning them. And especially, if you wait too long and you let the defender get an angle on you, there are just a lot of times that Greene would have gotten around the corner when Marchiol couldn't. Partly speed, partly timing of the decision. And Marchiol just did not see a number of receivers that he should have seen. And again, a lot of this, some similar things that Greene has had issues with, but Marchiol, he's having these really good stretches and making some sweet passes, but he is also making some bad decisions. I mean, he threw into double coverage, and if it had been a good pass, it would have been intercepted. But he's just not as consistent as he needs to be. And, in his press conference, he talked about, the three safety defense confusing him. And teams are going to see that. Baylor is going to know that going in. They are going to know how to confuse him. And will he or will he not be able to improve enough to make the reads this week? Next season, yeah, I think he will. But right now, I think he's easier to confuse. And like a lot of high school quarterbacks, he was not trained in reading defenses from day one. That didn't start until college. Now, Garrett, Greene, both these guys are leaders. They're different types of leaders, but that's not, I've said before that the whole team will run through a wall for Garrett Greene. And I think they would do the same for Marchiol. So that, I think, is pretty much a wash. I do think Greene has a greater ability to energize the team, which includes making a big run. That can really, pick a team up. The real question with Greene, improving certain decisions and regaining his deep ball. I've said in a couple of videos, the odd thing this season is that improving his short game has accidentally lost the long game. We know he can throw the deep ball well, so that could come back at any time. And that is actually going to be the big question. Does Garrett Greene break through the mental aspects that were giving him trouble this year? And it really is mostly mental. There's a physical aspect because he is still trying to make the new footwork and some of the adjustments over the summer, trying to make those natural so he's not having to constantly remind himself to do them. That's taken a little longer than expected, but sometimes time off makes that fall into place. It's a learning thing. This is, I'm not making this up. This is known. Sometimes you need downtime for certain things to fall into place. Maybe that will happen. If it happens, will it compensate for the rust of being off for 3 weeks? And talking about being, off, he was not practicing. And he started some practice last week, and then he gets this week and game time. Will that be enough to overcome 3 weeks off. Have to see. But the two primary things. First of all, Nicco Marchiol is making more mistakes than fans think he is. A read mistake is something we tend not to see. And a mistake on what he doesn't do is something we don't see. They're talking about him taking better care of the ball, but sometimes that's because he's not doing something he should be doing. And we don't tend to notice mistakes of omission, only mistakes of commission. And Greene has been more a mistake of commission, some omission. Marchiol, I think, is more mistakes of omission. Yeah, there's the saying, we regret more the things we don't do than what we do. And that's, but we're not seeing what he doesn't do. And I think that's the difference with Marchiol. The positive with Greene is the running edge. Marchiol doesn't run well enough to overcome mistakes. He runs well, not well enough to overcome mistakes. Greene does. Whether it's a mistake in a read, a mistake by the offensive line, Greene runs well enough to sometimes turn a mistake into a very long gain. And that may be the deciding factor. All right. I know this has been rambling. I do apologize for that. Once again, please, despite my rambling, share, subscribe, and tune into the game on Saturday. I will probably try to do a live post game, but with all that is going on and the uncertainty of what is going on here, I cannot guarantee that. So keep an eye out for it if you would, and drop in if we're there. Okay, guys. I'll talk to you later. So long.